Alright. I don't know where I put mine. Maybe too big. I want to go get the other one out. Alright. I might have to. Alright. It's too big. Ah. Whatever. It'll be alright. Okay, so we need this color out. Actually, let's just go with gray first. Just to be safe. Just to be safe. I'm pretty excited. I ordered a bunch of DaVinci Maestros last night, so I bought the 000, 00, size 2, and then a couple more size 1, size 0. So we're gonna be rocking out with those big time. It's so funny, you can't even see the gray on the... I need to reset the palette cam. It's obviously not playing nicely here. Thank you for letting me know, Shane. There you go. That should help. Yeah, I noticed that yesterday. Totally forgot until right now, so definitely thank you. Okay, so where's of course the brush that I'm looking for I don't even have out. Right here. Okay, so feel free to share this video out if you would like to. I haven't shared it anywhere, so feel free. Okay. Just looking at my setting here. Alrighty, so what I'm trying to do... I don't really have a deep contrast, that's on purpose. This actually goes from like a... more of like a German gray to a brown. And then barely any kind of highlight. So my mission here, let's see what kind of... Okay. You can see just how thin we can go with this. So I'm waiting to see here for just a second to see how bright that is. Okay, so it's not too crazy. That is fine with me. So have to remember where my actual... Hold on, sorry. Let me actually adjust here so I can put my wrist down so I know where I'm working from, and then let me adjust that for you. It's nice and crisp. Okay. Hope everybody's having a good day out there. I did go back and put last touches on the Dachshund from yesterday as well. I also hit her with the clear coat varnish, so it just looks better in general, but you can see her right there. There we go. But definitely like these minis. Somebody wants to buy the Golden Retriever one, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, she was fun. But so we're just working on the non-metallic metal on this armor. Now I've painted 3 of these already, I think now. This is number 4. And then I have 2 more. So I've painted these all kinds of different ways. But With this one, at least, due to its size, I always try and keep contrast sort of like really pushed out. If you watched yesterday at all, you saw sort of the technique as to how I'll do like much brighter colors first, glaze them down, and then do sort of all of the mixing underneath. And so same story today. When trying to do larger sections of metal like this, it's always best to just do sort of color blocking, at least for me, to do color blocking and then move my way back down. But this color should work well to reflect the colored smoke that we're doing. So the actual light source, right, is going to be highlighted up to white, and then it'll be darkened to a really dark blue, and then that sort of reddish hue in between, the magenta, will just get pulled between the two different layers. Because of the amount of water that I have in it, which is good for exactly the purposes that I want to use it for. I just have to make sure that I'm sort of cognizant of that whenever I'm applying it, just because obviously it does affect the way that the paint works. So you just kind of got to remember that. But all in all, this shouldn't be too difficult to paint. Realistically, the Gold Smoke Knight's super simple. For those of you that have painted it, you sort of know what I mean. It's not that there's a lot of variance in it, it's just sort of pulling off one trick, and that's kind of really the only thing to keep in mind. So again, if you're just now joining, we're just color blocking this in. And if you could, do share this video. If it hadn't been shared already to the Lanterns Life group, that would be great. I know Lawrence is in here, so that'd be good. Oh, I saw somebody post a question. Give me 1 second. What's nice about what I'm doing with this color as well, pretty much I can highlight all of the metal how you would expect it traditionally, but then with the OSL, all I have to do is tint it, since we're working with literally just like white and gray. So we're not working with like actual gold armor, you know what I mean? That's why I was able to do all of the OSL work ahead of time, coming from the smoke, because I knew that I'll be able to just tint everything after I highlight it. In general, we can move a little bit closer, actually. No harm there. So out of the diffused sections, I'm just going to pull down a little bit more to get a little bit more texture in. Even though texture does not matter at all in this stage, but we may as well pretend like we're trying. Of dust on the tip of the brush there. Okay, so alright, so let me see what that question was. Oh my gosh, sorry. I don't know, I guess I swallowed a fly. Hey Josh, I'm having some trouble with my paints drying a bit grainy when glazing. That means you're mixing something in. What are you mixing in? Medium? There's your problem. There it is. So you shouldn't be using medium. Literally, that's literally what is causing that problem for you, is the medium. That's what's creating the grain. You don't need any of that when you're glazing, because you can't mix it with water. That's the whole thing. So if you're using glazing medium, then you only mix it with that. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay, so may not be the answer you wanted, but it's the truth. If you're getting grain, it's because there's something in the water, usually. And then since you said you're using a medium, that's what's in the water, causing it. So, like if you're using really dirty water trying to thin paint, you'll run into the same issue 9 times out of 10. Again, because I don't use anything. The only time I use anything mixed in other than water will be some airbrush thinner. But that's only when I want the paint to diffuse in a very, very tiny, small, sort of short range. Just because of the way that the thinner actually sort of will always affect the paint. So that's the only reason why I use that. And that's in very specific scenarios. Otherwise, just water. Again, right now I'm just using a gray. I'm not using white or anything. Obviously, that's what everything would be leading up to. But I'm probably going to end up moving down a step or two in terms of tone after this layer, and then we'll go back. Paint that I'm using is extremely wet, so I only need a tiny little thin amount, but it allows me to use the brush like a pencil. Maybe counterintuitive, but that's the easiest way to paint. Allows you to have really, really good brush control. Also depends on the brush, obviously. Oh, I cannot wait for my new brushes to get here tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Now that like my brain has unlocked all the powers of the Maestro series, I'm like ready. Takes a while until your muscle memory really locks in on a brush type. And now that I'm locked in on these, I'm like ready to go. Man, I used to like hate painting non-metallic metal, but now I just feel like it's just like such an easy process if you are taking your time. It's kind of relaxing, really. The consistency of this right now is pretty awesome because I can just keep going in layer by layer and it's drying pretty much instantly. No humidifier today and I haven't had the windows open, so I'm not dealing with my drying issues like I was yesterday, but my allergies are killing me today. Pretty sure they're killing like half of everybody in the state currently. We have like a severe tree pollen warning or something, so. And then this weekend, it's also going to freeze, so I know that I'm going to be dying from that, because it's the temperature change, so... Knock on wood, hopefully I don't get sick. I've been a good boy, I've been taking vitamins, so... Hopefully that's enough. Hope everybody out there is having a good day. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch. Shout out to everybody watching on Facebook. If you like playing video games on your computer, make sure you comment "Thanks, Arthur" on the post and get entered to win the collector's edition of Warhammer End Times Vermintide 2. If you want, we can play a game afterwards. Whoever the winner is. Realized I had an extra CD key, so we're just going to give it away on the strength of the culture. That's what we're doing it for. So, if you have a gaming PC, it is a pretty intense game to run graphics-wise, but make sure you hop on to that post and comment. That's all you gotta do to enter, so. Obviously, sharing is caring. Add some texture on this side. There we go. Not much, but enough pre-texture so that I can give it some more body. There we go, we'll do something like that. Okay. Getting too fancy. Hey Josh, so the answer to your question that you asked, for everybody else that didn't see it, is glazing the same as putting ink on a mini? So putting ink on a mini, the verb for that would be a wash, right? And that's pretty much the only thing you can do with an ink. You can run an ink or a wash through an airbrush. You can do tinting with that as well. You can glaze with it, but you're more limited, right, due to the palette of available washes and things like that. So, you know, you can glaze with whatever color you want, with whatever paint you want, if it's thin enough. So that's just sort of the idea. So like I'm essentially glazing all of this that I'm putting on right now onto the armor. The only difference is that I'm doing it with such a brighter pigment. Anytime you're dealing with a color that has a lot of white in it, it's gonna have a lot of that pigment. So that means even though I'm going really, really thin with it, it doesn't matter because it's gonna be leaving behind enough pigment, even though it's really thin, to make a difference on what I'm applying it to. If this were a darker color, if this were something like a really dark brown that I was applying, maybe if we were gonna be going like gold, right? So like traditional gold, let's say it's a cavalry brown, that's a really high pigment color. However, because it's not bright in terms of shade, then it doesn't make a difference, right? So, so like even this could be considered glazing just because of the consistency of the paint. I think that's something to remember. So like the easiest way to sort of keep an inventory of all that stuff in your head, at least for me, there's a little speck of metallic there. I don't know how that happened. But at least for me is to always think of them in terms of a verb, because there's a, you know, you can wash a miniature, you can glaze a miniature, you can dry brush a miniature, right? That's sort of an easy way in your head to think about it. And then everything else in terms of like using a specific product, type of paint, an additive, something like that, all of that is extra outside of the actual terms that we're using to describe stuff. So, and I know that gets confusing depending on like your background in painting or how long you've been in the hobby or whatever, because people will just sort of interchangeably use that online whenever they're talking. But whenever I'm speaking, that's always where I'm coming from. I'm coming from it from a like practical, actual application standpoint, and not like a product standpoint saying like, oh, this is a glaze, or like, you know what I mean? Because there are glaze paints that you can buy, there are glaze mediums you can buy, there are all these different things. There's wash mediums, there's there's even dry paints, right? If you look at Games Workshop with their technical stuff, they have like a dry brush paint. So all these companies make these different things, but when I'm speaking about it, it's only ever going to be the actual like practical application of the technique. So right here in the front, I blocked that out just because I want that to stand out a little bit more after I apply a little bit more color to it. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for the belly. I just wanted to get that harsh reflection of contrast across that, and in that way too, I can actually do some of that purple highlight at the very bottom of the belly because it's going to be reflecting up from below. So I'm going to do a brighter one over here than on this side's still going to get it, but since there's this flame down at the bottom, we're going to have a brighter contrast on that OSL reflection on his big pot belly. So, and then the back's easy peasy, nothing too fancy. We might do a little bit on the sort of crown of the back of the cap on that armor, but otherwise that's about it. So. And like I said too, since we are painting just silver armor, I'm able to go over all of the OSL areas on the armor itself. And what's cool too, right, is that the OSL that we're painting over is actually like adjusting the tone of the shadow. So it's sort of like baking in that color, and then to increase the contrast on whatever reflection I want to show, then all I have to do is just glaze back on top that color. So that's how we got the really satiny, velvety fur texture yesterday on the Dachshund that I was painting, by doing that sort of same technique where you're going to be able to glaze on top, and it gives you this really silky, velvety, sort of crushed velvet texture, like velour texture almost, that allows you to do that. And when you do it on armor, it's super great too, because then you just do edge work and it looks like armor, right? But it's a very, very easy sort of, there's not a lot of guesswork, I would say, is how I'm describing it. So it isn't that it's easy, but it's like this, you can be confident with it. It's much easier to be confident and sort of work quickly, if that makes sense. That's sort of how I've been evaluating techniques recently, is like, if it makes you more confident using a color or something like that, or if it saves you time just because there's less guesswork, things like that. That's how I've been evaluating stuff as of late. Adding in some damage there. And for those of you just now joining or whatever, again, this is like stage 1, and then we shade back down, and then we highlight back up, and then it's pretty much done. So, but even for stage 1, you can pretty much get the vibe of what the final product's gonna look like. Oh, and yeah, if you missed the news, the summer atelier is totally sold out, so that event is totally booked. If you were on the fence of coming to the painting workshop, it's over. Sorry. Sorry. Still too much paint on the edge of the brush, so I'm always constantly doing that to pull it off. So I do feel like that was too much, but I think I can do some work with the contrast around it, kind of help. Yeah, it should be okay. I haven't decided the color that I'm going to use to do my mid work with after we sort of do all the sketching color blocking in. I'm thinking some version of brown of some sort, like a deep mahogany probably, will be the color that I go for. And then we'll just use the same gray up to white. You can see with how thin the paint is, I can do this super crisp edge work literally in seconds, like without even trying. It's just like done immediately, so it's a pretty good trick. This is also how you do like advanced dry brushing, and by that what I mean, like, if you're trying to get really, really clean edges on something, instead of sort of just like being sloppy, if you're doing fur with like dry brushing or a wash and dry brushing or whatever, having a super pliable brush with a sharp tip, you'll be able to go in and just hit all of those edges very, 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 very crisply, and it'll allow you to have something that looks a lot cleaner. So. As always, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I will try and help you out. If you have not used your Amazon Prime free Twitch Prime credit this month, head on over to my Twitch channel and dump it for me, because that's free money that you haven't spent yet that you could give to Arthur for food. So please do so. All you need for that is to have an Amazon Prime account, and then you can just subscribe to my channel using the credit linked to your account. That helps me out. Remember, you can also shop all the supplies that I use on Amazon directly. Go to minipainting.studio, and there is a navigation link for you that takes you to the Amazon influencer store, where I do get a little percentage of the sales, but I've taken time to put all the different things that I use there, so you can check that out. And if none of that sounds cool, check out the painting products that I've got. So we've got the periodic table of painting, the non-metallic metal guide, the power-up palettes. A lot of cool stuff on there. Some of the people watching the chat right now, I know on Facebook at least, can attest to some of those products because they have them. Brightening up some of these areas one more time. I've been doing 2 coats of this anyway, so I'm just going to render out some of our pre-highlights a little bit more. And in this stage too, like, you're not being super precise, so we'll get real close here. So you can see, while I am still trying to taper the best that I can, this is really just loose work. The color that we apply on top is going to diffuse most of the hard edges and really just leave maybe 20% of that highlight. So really, like I say, right, this is more like sketching. You're just going quickly. And then once you glaze the color on top, that's sort of the real time that you pay more attention to your brush strokes and how soft everything is. This is just for you in your head to get all of your colors correct, or at least your highlights correct. Another way to think about sort of why you would take the time to do this. So another way that you could get non-metallic metal started pretty easily and quickly is just to take the lightest color that you're going to be painting, or maybe a mid-range, and then just do an ink wash, like a very heavy wash. Allow it to dry completely, apply a matte coat, and then you can start highlighting on top. So while I am taking 2 steps here, right, to apply this first sketch layer, glaze it down, and then highlight it back up. So that's 3 steps. I think it still takes about the same amount of time, and you get better looking results as like applying a ton of wash, waiting for like an hour for it to dry, and then highlight it back up. Because in that entire time, right, we would have sketched in, gone back over, covered up that sketch, and then started by the time like a wash would traditionally dry. So that's sort of, at least time management wise, the sort of like the cost benefit analysis, right, of doing something like that where you're doing more underpainting. Blocking in the face a little bit. With the face, really, it's just sort of getting my mind prepared for whenever I'm messing with the OSL, because obviously I want that effect to look best on the face. So what I'm doing right now is, even though I am doing sort of these basic highlights, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so this is where I want the color to pop from the smoke. So I'm applying these highlights, honestly, only where I want to end up doing OSL. Because I feel like that's gonna, you know, that's sort of the areas that'll have the most dramatic result in general. So I'm tapering it differently, I'm applying it differently in areas. Only because I know, like, towards the back I want it to be really intense, in the middle I don't really care, and then right up around the eyes where I'll want to manipulate that highlight more. Got to do the jawline, because if it's illuminated, obviously the jaw would be illuminated. Even though it doesn't need to be crazy, because the effect is only really going to be seen from like a front angle in general, so it's not like this is going to be something drastic. Because if we're looking at it from the front, right, obviously you can't see anything, so it's just going to be a matter of shading it down as close to that cheek as possible while retaining that hard white edge, and then just giving that a color reflection. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm wondering if that's flash. I need to, well, I mean, I know it's flash, but I'm wondering if I even need to do anything special to it to get rid of it. I don't know where my knife is. It's underneath something, so I'll fix that in a minute. But I didn't notice it until now, at least. That angle on the chin is much easier. I wonder why it's so much different on that end. That end makes way more sense. But what do I know? Cool, happy with the reflections we're getting up here. You can see that they're bouncing back off of where that flame or the smoke would be giving them more of that reflection. So, and again too, right, like I was saying, up here it's much more noticeable. You guys probably couldn't tell much around the shoulders. I guess you can kind of see. But obviously, right, the baked-in OSL that we have that's going underneath, so like those really sort of base layer reflective colors are then going to be amplified by overlaying the final colors. And what's interesting too, right, obviously these areas are going to be the brightest. So like this is the same color I'm going to be using in general to highlight out some of these closer areas of this smoke. So you'll be able to see sort of the effect that's going to be happening. The closer down we get, it'll be much brighter, and then it'll transition up to a really deep blue that hasn't been applied yet either. And then I'm probably going to do another section here this. So, just like the stomach has that highlight line, we're going to do the same thing across the top. The head is tilted, so it's not going to be a perfect across reflection. As it shouldn't be, because that wouldn't make sense if his head's tilted. Nice. I think that looks so sick. Hold on, let me back this up. Yeah, what a cool reflection. Okay. My streams have the best music? Yeah, that's why people copy it. Like, literally. Let me hop over here, see if I've missed anything. I haven't missed anything elsewhere. That's fine. Where is this? Why can't I see? Give me 1 second. Huh, okay, hold on. Nobody shared the video anywhere, so let me go ahead and share this out. Bump that there. Bum ba dum bum bum. There's that. Oh, wait. Dang it. I just did it twice. Should have done this at the beginning. Oh, sorry. What time is it even? Oh, 45 minutes? Yeah. That's fine then. Whatever. No point in sharing it now. What a shame. What a shame. Let's do... Come on. There we go. Okay. Ooh, this looks gnarly. It's so funny that doing even the sketching on the helmet just makes it look so different. Piece of fuzz got primed in there, that's fine. We'll just hide that, shall we? one section underneath I need to Bondic, but... Okay, cool. Well, I'm happy to get that much done in about an hour today, for sure. It'll probably take about an hour to do the rest of the prep work on the Mini in terms of the sketching highlights, and then probably an hour after that, so... Only a couple hours left on this paint job. Very pleased with our results so far. Awesome. Very pleased. I'm wondering too if I should do another band around the bottom, but I think I may just use the blue. Maybe if it's really, really, really subtle. So like, because if I can just glaze it in, that'd be so much easier. So I think I might try it real quick. We'll see if it looks like trashy. Really shouldn't. Okay. That's about the right length. And then I would say, honestly, it's gonna be like banded on both sides, so like that, like an arc. Okay. Okay, something like that. So remember, this is going to be the reflection of the smoke color beneath it. Yeah, I think that's good, actually. Because it doesn't extend up vertically too much to really not sell the effect. Obviously, you're having to pretend with me here that it's the correct color. Then right now I'm just cleaning up the edges based upon since the belt would be cutting it off. In terms of the glow. Okay. Sweet. What just fell over? What in the world? Oh, something just fell off camera. Scared me. I'm spooked, guys. Now we're just doing little scrapes, little scrapey scrape highlighting. Because what's a good paint job without some scrapey scrapes, you know? Little scrapes here and there, little notches, little dots, you name it. Okay, that's good enough for me. All I want is some variance after we apply that glaze, so. If I can bake some in underneath, it'll make it look even dingier once we go back to apply the highlights on top, so. But, we'll call it for now, so that'll be it for today. The next time you see this guy, it'll probably be done, looking amazing. But, anyway, for those of you that have been asking for some non-metallic metalwork, that don't want to spend $5 a month for the classes, there you go. Go back and watch this over and over. So, hope you guys have a great day. I know I'm going to be busy the rest of the day, but should be pretty alright. Lost Bop says all you can see is a black screen. I don't know what to tell you because it definitely is working on Twitch. But either way, that is it for today. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I will see you all probably tomorrow. Most likely. See you.